Would you like to learn how to make a really delicious and very easy cast iron pizza? Well, stay with me. That's what we're gonna do tonight. I'm really excited to share making cast iron pizza with you because it's something that evolved for us living far from town and wanting to have a fun weekend dinner. But it's also a great way to be able to have a very affordable meal that's healthy, where you can control your ingredients. And wherever you are in your cooking from scratch journey, this is a very good place to start. So I'm going to share with you our ingredients and the equipment we use and then how we put it all together. So here are the ingredients that we use and that you would need for pizza. You need some dough. This is the dough that I make ourselves, but you can find dough in a lot of refrigerated sections of grocery stores these days. Some cheese. We use a mix of grated Parm and mozzarella and whatever we've got around, but whatever cheese you like is fine. And a little bit of flour for working the dough. Our pizza sauce, a little bit of flaky salt and garlic granules, and then your toppings. These are the toppings that we happen to have around our house tonight for pizza night, but this varies just depending on what's on the shelf. And you can really use whatever pizza toppings that you like on your pizza. And I almost forgot, some olive oil. Here's all the equipment that you need for pizza night. The oven, and obviously the cast iron pan, the cutting board, an oven mitt. I use tongs, but these are really optional. A pastry brush, a pizza cutter, and a fork. That's it. And I almost forgot a spoon. All right, so this is where the action starts to happen. I've got my dough set up and ready for shaping. And then I'm gonna come over here, and I've already turned my oven on to 500, which is the highest it goes, and I'd recommend that, or as high as your oven goes. Then I'm gonna turn my cast iron pan on. And for this oven, I'm gonna go around medium, but it's pretty hot. And then I've got all those ingredients that I showed you in a line, in the order in which I'm going to use them. Then while this is heating up, I'm gonna go shape my dough. And you can roll the dough out, you can stretch it with your hands. I've found the best way I like to do is put a little flour on the cutting board and just kind of stretch it out. And then you can even just use your hands a bit. Every time I make dough, it has a mind of its own. So it just depends on what the dough is like that day. If you get those little thin parts, I just fold them over a bit and then stretch it out. What we're going for is for this dough to be roughly the shape of the pan. And if you like thicker dough, you can definitely use more dough. We tend to like thinner in this house. And I use my fingers just to kind of create a little bit of an edge. So now I've got my dough shaped and I'm just testing. This pan is pretty hot. I'm gonna go ahead and pour some oil in. I like a little extra oil. This is not a low-fat dinner. And the extra oil just helps make sure that the pan is ready. Now in our house, that means that it could cause our smoke alarm to go off because it gets a little bit sensitive, so I'm gonna turn our fan on. We are going to put the dough in the pan. And we just lay it gently from one end to the other. Sometimes it folds a bit, so we have a little bit of grace period to get it adjusted. All right, this is where things get exciting. So we just brush a little bit of olive oil along the edges. Kind of helps seal up the dough. You can see it's already starting to heat a bit. And then a little bit of garlic, especially around the edge of the crust. Also in the middle. All right, and then a little bit of salt. And again, this goes on the edge. Gives it that nice kind of crispy, seasoned flavor. Then we're gonna put on the sauce. And this you just kind of glop it on. And if your dough's like mine is behaving, it gets a little bit exciting because it's kind of like a tent. I always think I should put more sauce on, but usually it gets too gooey. So I'm just gonna use some restraint and call that good. Then I'm gonna put on our toppings. Now, oftentimes when you're at the restaurant, or some people like, your toppings on top of your cheese, we like our cheese on top, so this you could do in a different order. And then what's happening is that pizza crust in the pan is getting a nice, crisp, firm bottom while I do this. So I want to do this pretty fast so it doesn't get too burnt, but a little bit of extra time is gonna be just fine on that temperature for the oven. All right, and we're gonna put our olives on. Those got a little bit jumbled in the middle. Okay. Then we're gonna put the peppers on. Try to get them evenly distributed. We love these things. They're called Mama Lil's, and we get them at Costco. And they have a really nice, mildly sweet hotness to them. All right. Now we're ready for everybody's favorite part, which is the cheese. I'm just gonna sprinkle that on. And again, you can use whatever kind of cheese you like and want on your pizza. All right, so we have built our pizza, and this is where the magic happens, because up until now we've been cooking it from the bottom, but we're gonna put it in the oven and it's gonna cook it from the top, and it's gonna cook the top of the dough and give us that nice gooey brown cheese. So cast iron, I've learned this the hard way, it gets really hot even on the handle, so you wanna make sure you have a really good mitt. Quickly open the door, drop this down right like that, and we're gonna cook it for about 12 minutes. All right, there we have it. It's nice and brown and gooey on top. So from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my tongs and I'm gonna pull it out of the pan and let it cool for just a couple minutes on the cutting board.
So Julie's way better at making the pizza than I am, so I only have one job on pizza night, and that's cutting it. Well, actually 2 jobs, cutting it and eating it. So
I looked really shifty there. And a spoon. And I almost forgot.